We're going to draw 4 different slope situations. 4 different slope situations. So just 4 types. Let's just draw 4 quick little graphs, little ones. Got this guy. These are XY axes if you want to label them as such. Because there are four different slope situations. What? We didn't skip A1. We're doing it next. We kind of skipped it, but we didn't really. We'll come back to it. And we skipped it because it doesn't make any sense to do it yet. We don't have anything to solve right now. I didn't make up the numbers. Okay. These are the things that the district says you must learn. So actually the state of Oregon says you have to learn. Okay. 4 types of slope. First type we know, and we're going to have a nice visual so that we're all good. The slope here, right, if we have a line like so, we again know what would the slope of this line be? Going up, right from left to right? No. It's positive, 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 positive. Here we go. Okay, yep. So if we have a positive slope, what's the other option? Negative. We know that if we have a line that's going down from left to right, same way we read, this would be a negative slope. And now we have those 2 other options that we just saw. Okay, one is if you have a straight horizontal line. Okay, a straight horizontal line. Again, as you were walking across this, you would neither go up nor down. And if you don't go up or down, you have a 0 slope. And the slope would look something like some number 0 divided by some number. I don't know. X? No, we'll get confused. Something like that, where that 10 could be anything, right? That 10 could be anything. So 0 divided by, you might want to write any number. Here, I'm going to do that instead. I'm not going to write 10. I'm not going to write n either, because it's just 0 divided by 0, best thing ever. 0 divided by some number, okay? Not hashtag, gosh, it's a number sign. Hate you guys. Hashtag 0 slope. Pound. Okay, 0. Horizontal lines, 0 slope, and straight up and down. Right, we would say this has an undefined slope.
Could a parabola fit in a 0 or undefined?
No. Where the slope is some number divided by 0. Okay, when 0's on the bottom, you are never ever, there's 2 properties at play. First property, you're never allowed to divide by 0. Ever. Ever. That will always be true. Okay? And the second thing is, if we were thinking about this line, right, and you were trying to walk the line, you wouldn't be walking. You would be either, you could think of it either way. You'd be falling to your death or climbing, depending which side you're coming from. Okay? So, these are our 4 types of slope. Questions or comments on that? Yes, Patrick? Parabola is not a linear function. It does not have slope. Okay? Parabola is not a linear function. All right. So, where'd I go? I got lost. All right. Today we're also going to talk about something else. Last little bit here before we get to talking about some business stuff. We are going to talk about profit equations today. Make sure you have this written down. It'll take about 5 more minutes. Profit is equal to, as simplified as we can get it, your revenue. What's revenue?
Incoming money.
Yeah, revenue is incoming money, how much money you make. So this is how much money you make minus cost. Okay, so revenue minus cost. Now, cost is, Xander said, how much you spend. All right? There's a few different types of costs, right? There's your startup cost. Let's think about printing for a second. You guys have already been through printing some shirts. What do you think were some of the, what are things back there that were startup costs? Startup costs. Chris?
Any machine.
Okay, so what do we use for, what are our startup machines?
The printers, the vinyl presses.
Okay, the printer. What else?
Shirts. The blank shirts.
The shirt. That's kind of not a startup as much. That's going to change, right? Depending how many orders we get, that's going to change. What else? We got a printer, and what else, Xander?
There's like the light table and the presses.
The light table, right? The presses.
The pens.
Yeah, sure. If it was a real, right? Now, our business is a little bit simplified because you guys, we're not having to pay for rent. We don't have to pay for heating, electricity. And in fact, no one here has a salary that they make from this business, right? Okay? But those are all different costs that we would have to consider. So as simplified as we can get it, we're going to say it's revenue minus cost. But there's two things here. When we're considering cost, there's the fixed cost, and there's the variable cost. The fixed cost is often a one-time investment. Yep, or like you can also hear it called the startup cost. So these are things like our machines, the presses, the printers, light table. We're not most of the time going to have multiple, we're not going to buy that every time someone orders some shirts. Okay, where the variable costs here, the variable costs are things like shirts. What the heck? I love when stuff like that happens. Shirts, you know, either way. Okay, shirts could have been worse, for sure. Could have been way worse. Yeah. Okay, shirts, paper.
I just accidentally did that because I saw that on yours.
See, isn't it? It's like Inception. Okay, shirts, paper, ink. This cost is going to change depending how much someone orders. Okay, so like the electric students right now. Mr. Harley is ordering t-shirts for the electric students, right? How many is he ordering?
40.
Okay, so he's ordering 40 shirts. All right? Miss Murchison wants to order like 30 leadership shirts. All right, these are variable costs. Hey, that change depending on how much someone orders. What doesn't change is that it doesn't matter if someone orders 1 shirt or 100 shirts. We still paid $13.59 for that press back there. That's $1,359. Okay? So, first of all, lesson, the equipment back there is expensive. Don't be an idiot. All right? What you guys are going to do right now, the first thing we have a class set of iPads here. Okay? Your name is connected to a number. On the iPads, you may only do what we are doing. If we see you doing dumb stuff, you will, guess what, never be able to use the iPad again. Okay? This includes taking selfies, taking pictures of other people, screwing with the backdrop, whatever. Don't be a dum-dum, first. Second of all, the one thing we haven't really talked about yet is there's an email account for this class that you all have access to. Now, if one of you chooses to be an idiot and messes with the email account, that messes with our orders.
Can't do that.
Right? Obviously, we know in real life, we all have good brains. You wouldn't be at your job and decide to mess with the company inventory or the company email. Right? Yahi, if that's going to be something we mumble about, let's choose our time for humor. I don't care. Okay. So, you'll see there's a mail app on there. You're welcome to open it, but don't do anything. Don't send any emails. Don't delete any emails. Don't mess with stuff. Okay? We'll talk you through what we're doing when you get your iPad. Okay? So, I'm going to let you guys figure this one out. Your name is associated with a number. Look at the list.
Hang on.
And get your number.
When at the end of the day, they're all numbered. That has to go back into the numbered slot, and you have to plug it in. It's up to you to keep yours charged. We'll plug the card in, you plug your stuff in, put it back in the same slot.
Whoops. 1 and 2 are. Yep, it's alphabetized.
You have your number. We have ours.
Okay, where did my... So, okay, lots of discussion. Again, we can argue about a formula. We haven't even talked about a formula in this class yet, so I'm not even going to talk about it. Because everyone I see doing the formula, not everyone, I think I maybe saw a few who are doing it right. Most people are doing really wonky stuff, so we're not even going to use the formula yet. Because if we use a formula, but it doesn't make sense, what the heck good is it? All right, so here, looking at that first one at A, the points were -2, 0, which should be there, and 1, 5, which would be here. So if I graph those points, right, it is never okay for you guys to mess up slope in here. Because if you use the formula and you use it wrong, you shouldn't be using the formula. Am I making myself clear yet how much I hate the slope formula? Anthony, do you hear me? Because look, here all of us should be able to look at this and have some sense of it. Okay, because you guys are smart people. All right? So you should never be made to feel like it doesn't make sense to you. Because again, we're smart people. It is human nature to try and make sense of things. If you're looking at these 2 points, as you go from the left to the right, do I go up or do I go down? Up. So should my slope be positive or negative? Positive, right? So as I'm looking at this, I know that I'm going up. And if this was a line that I had drawn, and I wanted to know the slope, right, from one point to the next, how far up do I have to go? Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to go up 5, and how far over do I go? 3. So if I go up 5 over 3, I should write my slope as 5 over 3. 5 over 3. If I go up 5 over 3, hey, my slope should be 5 over 3. Okay? Now, always up and to the right, right? Those were the notes if we were curious, and we had them from last time. We talked about slope as a fraction being how far you go up and how far you go to the right. Up and over, up and over, up and over. Okay? Again, if it was down, it would still be how far do we go down and to the right. Okay? How far do we go down and to the right? So if I wanted to check my work, and we were looking at, let's say we were looking at part C. Okay, if you're looking at part C and you aren't sure, best thing you could do is have a graph. Right? If I had a graph here, and we could do it quick because I'm just using it for scratch work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the points were 6, 7, and -2, 7. Those were the 2 points for part C. Anthony, look. If From one point to the next, if I were to connect these with a line, Anthony, you're going to answer this. I would encourage you to look. Anthony, where are your glasses? That's why I asked you this at the beginning of class, dude. Anthony, you can speak for yourself. What's right? So you can't see nothing? If you come up closer, could you see? Well then, okay, Lorenzo, because he didn't answer, you have to. All right, look, ready. From one point to the next. Don't think too hard. From the left to the right, how far do I go up? Zero. I don't go up at all. Looking at this, looking at it, right? If you put weird stuff, I saw a lot of 8 over zeros. Not okay. Not okay. 8 over 0 is not correct. My slope here is 0 because I don't go up at all. The slope is 0. The slope is 0 because I go 0. You could say, if you really wanted to get tricky here, you could say my slope goes up how many? We said 0, right? And how far does it go over? 8. You could say your slope is 0 divided by 8, but if you do 0 divided by 8, let's think for a second again. If you have nothing and you divide it into 8 groups, how much is in each group? Nothing. 0 divided by 8 means my slope is just 0 as my final answer. There's no slope here. It's 0. It's flat. D? Slope is just 0. Okay? If we were to do the last problem, I'm going to do it in pink. If we were going to do D, and we had the points -3, 2, -3, 1, is that right? Oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Whoops, those 2 points. Ignore that third one. Okay, look at these two. Here I have a slope, a line going straight up. Okay, from one point to the next, how far do I go up? It was that point, really. How far do I go up? 3. And how far do I go over? 0. Okay, if I go over 0, or think about it this way, if you were trying to walk, right, we talked about this whole walking thing, could you walk from this point to that point? What would this be if we were using the walking example? Maybe going like straight up, okay? Look at this, please. Look at pink line. Look, eyes, pink line. Do not say the slope is 0. When you do 3 divided by 0 on your calculator, everyone right now, do 3 divided by 0. Do 3 divided by 0. Oh yeah? You got 0 in your head?
Error, divided by 0.
Yeah, you got 0 in your head? What does the calculator say?
Error.
Error. You can never ever, we maybe have heard this rule, but we don't let it sink in. You can't divide by 0. This thing doesn't have a slope. It has no slope. The slope is undefined. So there's no slope. Okay? It's undefined. We wouldn't necessarily have recognized this from a formula, but when we look at it, it makes a lot more sense. What is 0 divided by 0? This is my favorite topic of conversation, so we probably shouldn't talk about it. I love it so much. Okay, really quick, just really quick, because this is going to be my next tattoo. Okay, really quick, then we'll talk about slope. We know this, like, there's 3 properties, okay? First rule. What's 5 divided by 5? Right, anything divided by itself, we know, is 1. Okay, so there's the one rule. The second rule, though, that we have is that 0 divided by anything, 0 divided by 5 is what? 0. Right, that's 0. And the third rule is that if you have something divided by 0, well, what does that equal? What did you just find out? Yeah. No. Don't say original number. It was undefined, right? Okay. So you have 3 different rules. Anything divided by itself is 1. 0 divided by any number is 0. But if we try and divide by 0, now that's not, you're not allowed to do that. You get undefined. So, Yahi's question, what is 0 divided by 0? Well, you could argue that it's 1. It's the same thing divided by itself. But it's 0 divided by something which is always 0, but also you can't divide by 0, so it's undefined.
It can be all 3 at once. But the thing is 1.
Paradox.
It has a real answer, but it's fun to think about. Technically, the strongest of these 3 rules is this, that it would be undefined. But it's really, I think you could argue, though, either way. Okay. So cool. Oh, so cool. Great question. Oh, my gosh. Birds of a feather, right, Yahi? No? Okay. All right. Here's what we got to talk about real quick. In your notes, please, we need to write this down because you don't know that, but it's going to be very important. Let's talk about linear functions. Your first quiz is when? Someone who noticed when I pointed out the board. No.
Friday.
Okay, linear functions in your notebook, please. Convenient. You can take it on Wednesday. Linear functions, we are going to talk about slope, of course. Two people, maybe in some groups, who are working. Here's why I'm frustrated. The instructions are in front of you. Okay? You have to be able to read them. You need an equation for $10, and then you have to come up with 2 other equations and their break-even points. We've already discussed break-even points. Okay, I think we've had this conversation with every group. If I buy a shirt for $5, that's how much it costs us to get the shirt, and we sell it for $11, how much do we make on the shirt? No. $6, right? We don't make all $11 because it costs us something to get it. Now, it says you need to have the $10 price plus 2 other prices. So come up with, okay, here's how many we need to sell if we sell them for $10. Here's how many we need to sell if we sell them for $20 in order to break even. Your presentations need to be done on Wednesday. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you haven't read your paper. That is frustrating to me because the instructions are on there, as well as how you're going to be graded. Some of you are already bordering on C and F territory today. Okay? You have 10 more minutes. None of you are done. No group is ready. You could move on and be doing your presentations, like your posters, right? If you're wondering how you make a presentation, like what's considered a presentation? There's a poster, some graphs, some charts so you can explain to the class. We all have different products, and we all need to know about all of the products. Your group is in charge of one product. Please use your last 10 minutes wisely. I need to have 1 through 7 done. You need to have some discussions about what's our price point going to be. Are there any questions about what you have to do as a group? How much time am I giving you on Wednesday? 30 minutes to be done, ready to present and share about your price and your object. Got it? Use your 10 minutes wisely, please. Is it 14? No, it's not 14. Is it 45? Go ahead. How'd you get 45?
I got 30 as the weight, but I did 15, so I did 15 plus 30.
Okay, so 45, though, we have to check it against being 20 pounds plus half its weight. So what's half of 45? 22 and a half. Is 20 plus 22 and a half 45?
No, that's 44. 42. I did that way more. 22 and a half. I did the second way.
Yeah, so 45 doesn't work out.
I got 40.
Hold on, Patrick's saying you got 40. You tell me.
Because 40 divided by 2 is 20, and then 20 plus half its weight, which is 20, is 40.
Yay or nay? Yay? All right, Patrick, you win.
What was your answer, though?
I'm not telling you my answer.
What was your dad's answer to you?
My dad, you don't want to know his answer. My dad's crazy, you guys. I love him more than anything. I know. My dad's honestly crazy. The question when I was younger was similar. The question was, if a tomato weighs 2 ounces plus half its own weight, how much does a tomato weigh? And my dad just said it weighs a tomato and a half, which. So he would say right here, how much does a fish plus half its own weight weigh? It weighs a fish and a half. So there you go. Love that guy. Okay.
So tell us, what was your answer?
I'm not telling you my answer. It's not important.
It is.
I will legitimately hear Dan's answer.
Did we agree with Patrick's answer?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What's your answer though? We want to know.
Are there multiple answers? I don't know. Oh man, Yahi. Okay, so the other thing, here's the problem I have. The problem I have is that tomorrow we have some print orders to work on, and only about half of you guys are working because we didn't do this. Okay, what I love is I saw multiple methods to do this. Some of you guys tried using a formula, which I'm not sure where you got, but that's cool. Maybe it was the shortcut we talked about. I don't know if you know that the formula is right or not, but the way we can tell for sure, because even if you don't know a formula, even if you are unsure or you know you've learned it before, all of you can count. So one of the favorite things that I saw was someone who had lifted up the back of their paper and drawn in a little graph and plotted the points and said, okay, I don't know, formula, whatever, but I can tell how far it goes up and how far it goes over. Okay, so right now I need you guys, this slope, let's talk about this. Maybe a fish has more than one answer, right? Fish and a half, whatever, we could argue. Are there going to be more than one answers here though? No. So please make sure, especially focusing here, that all of you guys have the same answers for slope. If you're not sure about the formula, then someone do the work to look at it on a graph. Because when we look at it on a graph, we should be able to agree up and over. I want you to take about 5, maybe 6 minutes. Focus right here on 3. And if you didn't do it, now's the time to finish it. Work on number 3, please. There's 30 because you're like 20 plus 10. This is easy, Ms.Stolte. Why'd you even ask? It's not that easy. Okay? Because it's not infinite. There's a real answer. Poop. Here it is. Okay. If you say it weighs 30 pounds, right? Like, if it weighs 30 pounds, okay, then it weighs 20 pounds plus half its own weight. What is half of 30? 15. That would mean it weighs 20 pounds plus 15, which is 35 pounds. That's a contradiction. It can't weigh 30 pounds because it doesn't work. It doesn't weigh 20 pounds plus half its own weight. Okay, so it needs to weigh 20 pounds plus half its own weight. I mean, we could check. If it would be 50, you would say, well, is it 20 plus 25? You need to check so that these two numbers need to be the same. All right, so make sure your answer works. We're going to keep going until someone gets an answer here. Keep working. You can talk to each other or just try some things out. You should have your homework in your notebook so that I can find it. If it doesn't have a page, you have an opportunity to get some tape or glue. You can easily glue this one in. And so it should be on its little page here. And then, of course, to the page next to it, we are going to get started with today. 14, 15. Warm up. All right. Where did mine go? Did anyone find my mind? My mind. Yeah, no big deal. It'll come back to me. There it is. Okay, we're going to do yet another. These are going to be most of our warm-ups. are these Martin Gardner puzzles. This one is a fun one. I have some personal history with this question. I didn't know that it was Martin Gardner. And when I saw the problem this morning, I had a teacher in I don't know, maybe 6th grade or so, who gave us this problem, and my dad and I had a big, heated exchange about it, and he still says all kinds of crazy things. We have yet to agree on the answer, my father and I, for this problem. So I have what I think the answer is, but lots of people think it's different. So here is the problem. A fish weighs 20 pounds plus half its own weight. The question here would be then, how much does it weigh? All right. So, a fish weighs 20 pounds plus half its own weight. How much does it weigh? Okay, you guys work on that. Convince the people around you. What happened to this? And please have out homework 2.4. Have out homework 2.4. Love, love, love to have you and your families there. So please make sure you guys are letting parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, whoever, know and show up. Yes, sir. Yeah. Is that this? Is that me?
That was computer just started.
Oh. Wow. I wish it wouldn't. Your windows. Just turn that back off. Okay.